So let's compare the flagship Samsung Galaxy S25 with the lower cost TCL 50XL. Let's go ahead and take a look. So both of these offer pros and cons, but the S25 is an expensive flagship with a $800 price tag. The TCL 50XL is a budget-minded device. It's free when you get it on prepaid. It's not as quality as the S25, but it does offer some very good features, especially for being a free device. Overall, the S25 is a more portable, compact device. It is smaller and more lightweight than the 50XL. The 50XL is a pretty big device, a little bit heavier, like most Android phones are. The S25, for being a premium device, is one of the few portable devices out there. Build quality is better on the S25. Glass in the front and the back, and has an aluminum frame. 50XL from TCL, budget-minded, plastic all around. The S25 has both a nano SIM card slot and an eSIM, while the TCL only has the physical nano SIM card slot. Also, the S25 has IP68 dust and water resistance, while the TCL does not have any of those. Now for the display, you have a smaller 6.2 inches on the S25 versus the bigger 6.8 inches on the TCL. But one thing that's surprising is both of these have 120 hertz refresh rate, so that's a nice even matchup right there, especially for the free TCL. Both are 1080p. The S25 does have an always-on display, while the TCL does not have it. For the software, the S25 has Android 15 with 7 years of updates with Samsung One UI. The TCL has Android 14, and it doesn't look like it's getting any updates at all. Chipset, you have a quality flagship Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite on the S25, while you get a mid-range to lower-range MediaTek Dimensity 6100 on the TCL. So basically, you're getting the best of the best. No corners cut on the processing speed on the S25, while the processor on the TCL will get you everyday quality. Everyday apps will run fine. It's just not going to be anything intensive. Now on the storage front, both of these have 128 gigs. So the TCL is on par with the flagship price device, but it has the advantage of having expandable micro SD card storage space. So that's a big win in the storage department for the TCL. Camera department, both of these have 3 cameras on the back, but the better setup is on the S25, 50 megapixel main, 10 megapixel telephoto, and 12 megapixel ultra wide with super steady video. The TCL, a 50 megapixel main camera and a small 2 megapixel ultra wide, small 2 megapixel depth camera. You can shoot up to up to 8K on the S25 and only 1080p on the TCL, and the selfie camera 4K on the Galaxy, 1080p on the TCL. So you do have a best of the best camera setup on the Samsung, while honestly you're going to get mediocre shots with the TCL. You know, you're gonna have to be in a lot of daylight to have some decent videos and pictures. For the Bluetooth, you got 5.4 on the Samsung, 5.3 on the TCL. You do have a headphone jack on the TCL, which is an advantage over the Samsung, which does not have it. You also have a bonus of having an FM radio on the TCL, which is interesting. You don't see that a lot. Both of these have a fingerprint reader, but the S25 has the under the display ultrasonic, which is more modern, very fast, very it's just a flagship feature. But the TCL has a more practical side-mounted fingerprint reader, which is equally impressive. Both of them get the job done. You do have Samsung DeX on the S25 for that desktop experience. Now moving on to battery, the Samsung is lacking. It's one of the few features that are very disappointing. 4,000 milliamp battery, which is small compared to the 5,000 on the TCL. Charging, you get 25 watt on the S25 versus 18 watts on the TCL. Also wireless and reverse wireless on the S25. So I think the better setup here is going to be the TCL because it just has a pure bigger battery, although it's a little bit slower charge. But I'll always take battery life over faster charging any day. So the standout features of the S25, why you would pick that phone over the TCL, would be the top tier camera, the top tier chipset, and it also has a lot of RAM, which I forgot to mention, it has 12 gigs of RAM over the 6 of the TCL. Everything else about it is top notch as well. Build quality. It has the ultrasonic fingerprint reader in screen. And it's just an overall really great device. And if you're into a pocketable device, this is the very few flagships out there that is kind of small and compact. But it is at that $800 price point, so that's one of the big negatives about the S25 is the price point. Also, I don't like that small battery size either. Moving on to the 50XL from TCL. It's a free device. It has a very interesting camera on the back, although the camera system itself is not good, but it does look a little bit different. It stands out. It has a headphone jack. It has expandable storage. If you're into bigger batteries, if you're into bigger screens, this one has a big screen for a bigger canvas for your videos. The refresh rate is on par with the S25. And it's just an overall great device to have with the big battery and the free price tag. So unless you're into photography and into heavy gaming and editing, the 50XL is a really good buy here. But like always, the S25, it's a long-lasting device because you're gonna get lots of updates and it's gonna stay powerful for a long time. So that's been my comparison of the S25 and the TCL 50XL.